In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
Grammys handed out last night. Willie Nelson, the big country winner, winning 2 different awards.
So it was kind of a surprise for him to win those because it was some stacked categories that he was in. So that got us thinking about some of the other surprising Grammy wins from over the years. Like, did you know Barack Obama has a 2-time Grammy winner? Before he was elected president, he won in the Best Spoken Word Album category for the audio version of 2 of his books. And his wife, Michelle Obama, also won a Grammy for the audiobook version of her memoir, Becoming, in 2020.
You remember Who Let the Dogs Out? Yeah, Baha Men. They won for Best Dance Recording in 2001, yet somehow ABBA, Queen, and Katy Perry have 0 Grammys among them.
Actress Kate Winslet from Titanic, yeah, she won a Grammy for the Best Spoken Word Album for Children. So she's only a Tony Award away from the EGOT status, where you have... Was it an
Emmy,
Oscar?
a Grammy, an Oscar,
and a Tony.
Then the Tonys. Betty White won in 2012 for an audiobook. The Muppets have scored a handful of Grammys over the years, first winning for Best Recording for Children for their Muppet Show album in 1978.
Steve Jobs was given an honorary Grammy. They say he really changed the way we consume and listen to music.
And Alvin and the Chipmunks. Yes, the Chipmunks have a whopping 6 Grammys, including Best Comedy Performance. But people like J-Lo, Blake Shelton, Beach Boys, nada.
I can't believe the Beach Boys have never won a Grammy. That's a tragedy.
And then you had Bonnie Raitt winning for Song of the Year. And I just read on Twitter, somebody said, you know, a song that was so noteworthy that it isn't even mentioned in Wikipedia, has no mention whatsoever. And she was actually surprised. I think she was one of those, she was honored to be nominated.
Yes.
Didn't expect to win.
Yum, science. Not rocket science.
Check it out. I blinded us with science.
Have you heard of this one? A powerful new AI chatbot has passed law exams in 4 courses at a university. Now, it became available in November, and since then it's been used to generate original essays, stories, and even song lyrics. Users have also had to draft research papers that were even able to fool some scientists. This is a little scary.
It is very scary.
A number of educators are expressing concerns about the impact of this on students and their ability to cheat on assignments. Now, recent studies have found it's now capable of achieving a master's degree in business and could pass the bar exam or medical license exam. Very soon, they think they'll be able to do all those things. I guess as humanity, we've had a good run.
You know what, though? There is a guy, a Canadian student, who I think goes to school down in the States. He actually has come up with an app where you can run stuff through it to see if someone used this chat GTP or GPT bot to write the stuff.
And to counteract it.
Yes, and apparently, so him and his buddy, or his best friend and roommate, have already turned it into a company, even though they're still in school, because they have had so many organizations and universities reach out to them because they're like, we need this technology and we need it now. A study in China recently found that the Earth's inner core may have stopped rotating and started spinning in a different direction.
Ooh, so if you felt a little dizzy lately, maybe that's why.
Now, there's no evidence that it affects all of us because it's over 3,000 miles below the surface. But they think the switch happened around 2009 and that it also happened in the 70s. And it could happen again in another 20 years.
It was a premise of a movie.
The Core.
That's right.
Where the magnetic core stopped spinning and things were just like falling out of the sky.
Hilary Swank, I think, was in that one.
Stanley Tucci?
Yeah, it was a great cast. Adding some milk to your morning coffee may boost the body's anti-inflammatory response. That's according to some new research. Studies surprisingly found adding milk to your morning coffee doubles coffee's protective effects. So coffee beans are filled with all kinds of antioxidants, and milk is filled with protein. So researchers found the two bind together to increase the inflammation-fighting power of coffee. So if you're not a big fan of coffee, though, researchers say you can get the same effect, and it may occur when combining other types of foods, such as a meat dish with vegetables or a smoothie with milk and yogurt.
Oh, that's fantastic news. Hey, apparently getting out and simply enjoying nature could actually lessen the need for some medications. Researchers found that visiting nature 3 to 4 times a week associated with 36% lower odds of requiring blood pressure pills, a 33% lower odds of using mental health medications, and a 26% lower odds of using asthma medications. So they investigated the impact of being able to view a green or a blue space. So, going and seeing some water and from home. And they found that has no impact, but you need to really get out into it and experience it. So just if you have a view of green or blue, that's not enough. You got to get outside, immerse yourself into it.
Interesting. They said physical activity is thought to be a key factor in the health benefits of enjoying nature.
Yeah, going for a walk in nature. Imagine that.
Well, speaking of physical activity, another new study shows that even 10 minutes of physical activity a day can really help your brain.
They looked at what did they do during the day? How much did they sleep? When were they active? When were they sedentary? If you downshifted from moderate or vigorous activity towards more sleep, sedentary behavior, or light activity, by about 7 to 10 minutes, you lost about 1 to 2% of your cognitive ability. They speculate that it could be increasing your cerebral perfusion or the blood flow to your brain.
So apparently it doesn't take a whole lot to make you feel a little bit better. Get out for a walk. Heading off towards Super Bowl weekend. Who do you got? Who are you picking for the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I really don't care about either team, the Eagles or Kansas City. So I don't know. I'm more just like, let's have a good game and eat a bunch of food. That's my outcome with it.
Watch the music at halftime.
Who is it this year? Rihanna?
Is it Rihanna this year?
I think so.
Or Beyonce?
No, Rihanna.
Rihanna, I think, yeah. I have to go Philadelphia because I'm a Denver fan, so you can't cheer for a team from your division. It just doesn't work that way. Well, with Super Bowl, coming up, there's people in the U.S. talking about this again. Should the Monday after the big game be a national holiday down there?
The idea is that everyone's tired and hungover. Millions of people call in sick or take a vacation day anyway. So why not lean into it? Because studies have found the day after Super Bowl is actually one of the most unproductive work days of the year south of the border. Now, some areas of the U.S. have already taken matters into their own hands. A New Jersey school district near Philadelphia is actually starting class 2 hours late next Monday to let Eagles fans sleep in. Yeah, I've heard about other school boards doing this because when your team, where, clearly a lot of the kids there cheer for that team that is in the Super Bowl, they're like, yeah, we're going to unofficial holiday.
And then 2 politicians in Tennessee just introduced a bill last week to make it a state holiday instead of Columbus Day. Well, then they changed course on Friday. They don't want to keep Columbus Day and just add Super Bowl Monday. Not clear what the chances of passing are.
Most of the people are either hungover or they just don't want to come to work because the Super Bowl runs way into late hours. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I would participate in any day off.
Why do we keep coming up with holidays?
It almost seems like a backdoor way to cancel a real holiday.
Well, I look at it this way, and I fully support, not necessarily in Canada. I mean, the Super Bowl isn't big necessarily per se, but if there's going to be another holiday, sure, I'm all about it.
And I'm just thinking, so Family Day is the Monday after Super Bowl, but at some point I feel like it's going to line up here in Ontario, and Family Day is going to be the Monday after Super Bowl, and people are going to lose their minds.
You can stay up past your bedtime. OLG says an 18-year-old woman in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario has become the youngest person in Canadian lottery history to win a jackpot of such a huge amount.
And the crazy part is, it was the very first lottery ticket she ever bought.
Come on, what are the odds of that? Her name is Juliette, and she was the sole winner of the Lotto 649 Gold Ball jackpot worth $48 million.
Now, the OLG says there's been other 18-year-old winners, but no one has won that much, and I don't think anyone's won it on their very first ticket. And she explained she had just turned 18. She said, my grandfather suggested I buy a lottery ticket for fun. When I went to the store, I wasn't sure what to even ask for because I'd never bought a ticket before. So I called my dad, and he said, well, ask for a Lotto 649 quick pick. And she then forgot that she had bought the ticket.
Well, I mean, she just turned 18. She's got a lot going on in her life.
Yeah, she apparently was at work, and one of her coworkers was saying, oh, someone in Sault Ste. Marie has the winning ticket for this. And she was like, oh, I have a ticket for that. So her coworker was like, well, I have the OLG app on my phone right here. Let's scan it and see.
And I love what she had to say. Quote, when he scanned the ticket, the winner, Gagnon jingle started to play, and big winner was displayed on the phone. My colleague fell to his knees in disbelief. He was yelling. In fact, everyone was yelling that I just won $48 million. I hope she immediately signed that ticket.
Because I bet you she hadn't.
Wow.
But when it comes, if you're wondering, what does an 18-year-old do with $48 million? Well, she's in university right now, and she says she's planning to finish her studies. I'd say she probably has to switch to online courses, though, because I don't know if you could handle I feel like everyone would be harassing you to pay for their tuition.
Pay for my tuition, pay for my books. Come on, you have the money. I know she plans to travel with her family, too. She was talking about that.
Yeah, I think what might be smart is take a break from school. Because you were saying, I don't know how you could focus knowing you have that much money on your university studies. Take a break.
I don't care about this test. I got $48 million.
Yeah. Put it on pause for now. Go travel the world. Expand your horizons. Learn a little bit more about yourself and who you are. Because at 18, right? Remember back to when you're 18. You're not the same person you are years later. So go discover yourself, learn, travel, see the world.
Tie your shoes at 18. Yeah. You probably have Velcro shoes.
Expand your horizons. She can't even buy liquor in Ontario. She can't even go to the liquor store to celebrate, guys. There's no popping champagne with this.
No kidding.
And so I'd say, go travel the world, do that kind of stuff, take a break, and then maybe in like a year or two, once you maybe have figured things out a little bit more, things have calmed down, then be like, okay, then maybe go back to school and finish that.
Yeah, that's right. So she couldn't celebrate with champagne, so she celebrated with a big glass of Canada Dry.
I was going to say sparkling apple juice, but yeah, ginger ale would be a great option as well.
I would say, and I know she's already talked about this. She wants to help out her family, travel with her family. I would think the grandfather and the dad should get a nice little bonus too.
I feel like if either of them had a mortgage or car payments, yeah, that's wiped off the board now.
Amazing. Well, this sounds almost like it could be the premise of one of those adorable 80s movies, someone gets hurt and someone jumps in to help out, and it's not any of that.
No. 2 weeks ago, the assistant coach of a girls' JV basketball team down in Virginia entered the game as a player. She's 22 years old, though, and she was impersonating a 13-year-old who was away, out of town, and wasn't there at the game because she wasn't able to play.
But she wasn't trying to hide herself. There's a video of her making some shots and making some, great layups and things like that.
Yeah, so it's not like she suited up because otherwise they were going to have to forfeit. She went out there and was like, putting on a clinic because she's 22 playing against 13-year-olds. Well, word got out about it and she got fired. Several other coaches, including the head coaches of the teams, were also let go. And the girls that were on the team, they decided to opt out and not even finish the rest of the season.
Now, the dad of the 13-year-old who was being impersonated was not amused or happy, as you can imagine. And he said they have yet to apologize to him and his family for this whole thing happening, too. So I don't know what the fallout's going to be, but their season is over because of trying this.
So now you're going to have to, verify before every game that each player actually goes there?
You got to bring birth certificates to every game, I guess. So yesterday we got out, the dog and I, and we went to Mud Creek Park, which I love, always have, and even more so now because they've repaved, if you haven't been there in a while.
Yes, they've repaved it, and it's so much wider. Like, it's like a full, like path on each sort of distance on each side with like a line down the middle.
Because the frost had started to turn the path there a little bit. It was getting a little ankle turny.
Yeah, well, and the tree roots are growing under and then it pops it up in spots. I mean, it's the joys of living in a climate with frost freeze cycles.
So the dog and I started out to go on our run, but then there was this couple walking towards us and they kind of flagged us down and got to talking. They moved here recently from GTA. It was their first time ever in Mud Creek Park. So they discovered the park and they were saying, well, how long does it go around? I was explaining, it's about 3.5 kilometers the whole way around. And he was saying he's lived in some major cities across the country. He goes, this is beautiful. He says, this reminds me of some spots I used to go to, he said, when I was out in BC. He said, just talking about Mud Creek Park. So we had a great conversation, Terry and Sandra. And I know that they said they listen sometimes to country. He likes our sister station, Cool, as well. And he was saying that, that they're loving it here in Chatham, Kent. He said, you get a bang for your buck with what you're getting, but they like the fact they're close to things and stuff like that, too. So it's a nice little reminder for me of the fact that we moved here 15 years ago and decided to make Chatham Kent home.
Yeah, it's so easy sometimes to get caught up in the things that, Chatham Kent doesn't have. And things we'll never have. Like, we're never going to have mountains. Like, that's just the way it's going to be, guys. Like,
or a raging river that you can, take a tubing down.
Yeah,
right?
No, we're never going to have that. But, we can appreciate the things that we do have to offer. Like, the fact that when the rest of the province was freezing their tuckuses off last week, it got cold here, but then it wasn't that cold.
They were telling me about her daughter and her other half live near Ottawa, but out in the country, and they're kind of living off the grid a little bit. And she said, it was like minus 49, minus 50.
We said off the grid, I made a face like...
they have an outhouse. So he said, can you imagine how cold that was on the behind trying to go to the bathroom at 50 below?
That's when you're like, I'm just going to pee in a bucket or something.
She said that's why she messaged her daughter and said, well, it's -8 here, so, we're suffering too. So everybody's got their challenges. Nice little reminder, though, about different perspectives. When you go and you live or you just visit other places, there's no Shangri-La. There are no streets paved in gold anywhere in the province or the country for that matter.
Yeah.
Everywhere has its own sets of challenges.
Would it be nice to have more paths and trails like Mud Creek? Yes. But they don't just, appear out of thin air. It costs money to put them in and maintain them. So, got to weigh the pros and cons against each other.
And then again, it's a nice spot. If you haven't been there before, and I was here probably over a year, because you don't know what you don't know. So we didn't know about Mud Creek Park till someone, I think, here at work mentioned it to me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's go and check that out. And I was like, wow, this is a great spot.
And if you are looking for different paths and trails, there is the Chatham-Kent Trails. They actually have a website, has all the different paths that they have here in Chatham-Kent. They've done a fantastic job over the last few years, really maintaining them, especially during the pandemic, because they saw such an increase in people using them, wanting to get outside and get active.
Yeah, go through the municipality's website, too. There's links there. They've got some great maps, interactive. They print some, too, of all the various trails in CK.
When I got to another ocean, I figured since I'd gone this far, I might as well just turn back, keep right on going. When I got tired, I slept. When I got hungry, I ate. When I had to go, I went.
It took him over a year, but a British man has become the first ever to recreate that very famous Forrest Gump run across the U.S. from the 1994 movie. And he even did it in full Forrest costume and has written a book about it.
So in the book, he tells about how in 2016, when he was 38 years old, the same age as Tom Hanks when he portrayed the Gump character, he began his journey, which would take him through 43 states over 422 days as he crisscrossed the country 4 times. And he covered over 15,000 miles. That's 25,000 kilometers.
He also, by the way, went through 33 pairs of running shoes. Now, he is an experienced marathoner, but he encountered blistering heat, lots of rain, relentless snow, and he was doing it to raise money for 2 different charities along the way.
And he also managed to work the Boston Marathon into his itinerary. So he was able to plan it out. So he's up in the Boston area, did the marathon, and then just kept on running, as Forrest would say. And he came across so many cool animals, moose, bears, dolphins. And at one point, he actually had to pause his run to fly home. He suffered a torn quadricep muscle. And also his daughter was born. So he had to fly home to go and see her, squeezing in 3 marathons while he was there as well.
Well, I had to keep up with the training, right? So when he finished his Forrest Gump run in Utah...
in the movie? I just feel like I'm tired. I think I'm going to go home now.
Go home now. His fiancée and baby daughter were there to greet him. That's when he was wearing a, Bubba Gump shrimp hat. He dropped to one knee, said partially out of tiredness, but mostly out of tradition. And then he asked Nadine to marry him. His book just came out recently called Becoming Forrest, One Man's Epic Run Across America.
Did he have the big beard, too, at the end?
I hope he let it grow out, just like Tom Hanks' character.
Because at the end of the movie, his beard's, super long.
And then all those people were following along. What are we supposed to do now? I wonder if he had some people following him in certain spots, too, as he went back and forth. Pretty epic journey. It's pizza day today. When it comes to pizza, Super Bowl Sunday is the busiest day of the year when people are ordering pizzas.
So it might be a good time to try out the pizza diet. This was done by a personal trainer, actually, in the UK by the name of Ryan. He did a 30-day pizza diet where he ate pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for a month and somehow managed to lose 7.5 pounds.
And he did eat some other stuff too, like protein bars when he needed a snack, but every meal was pizza. He averaged 10 slices a day, so 300 in 1 month.
Now, one reason why he was able to lose weight, he made the pizza himself at home. So obviously that's going to be a lot healthier than maybe something you could get from a delivery place. But mainly, he said he made sure he still only ate about 2,000 calories a day. So he wasn't eating like 10 slices in one sitting.
Now, his whole point behind this, he said, was to show people you don't have to sacrifice your favorite foods to lose weight. Just don't overdo it.
Also, I think what probably helped, I feel like as a personal trainer, he probably loaded all the vegetables up on it. And for me, I'm all about meat pizza.
Well, now he's already moving on to his next idea, the burger diet. So this month he's eating burgers for every meal.
Now, you can eat burgers, just don't put the bun on sometimes. Maybe that's like a nice option to weigh it out.
So I wonder for breakfast then, is he eating like sliders, like the little small burgers?
We're just wrap it in lettuce, then you get your vegetables with it.
Chris Stapleton's going to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl this Sunday, and he's only the 9th country artist to do it. So what's surprising is how many Super Bowls have really ignored country stars when it comes to performing at the big game. And got a little list of how many have actually performed over the past 50 plus years.
So when it comes to the national anthem, Charlie Pride was the very first country singer to do it in 1974. Also the first person to do it on their own. Before that, it had always been either instrumental or done by a choir or with like a backing choir. Now, the other 7 country stars to also sing the anthem include Garth Brooks in 93, Faith Hill in 2000, The Chicks in 2003, Carrie Underwood in 2010, Luke Bryan in 2017, Mickey Guyton sang it last year, Eric Church was on the guitar when R&B singer Jasmine Sullivan sang the anthem in 2021.
Now, as for the halftime shows, a country star hasn't been featured in one for 20 years. The last time was Shania Twain in 2003, and even then, she wasn't solo. She shared the stage with Sting and No Doubt. Before that, Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and the Judds did a halftime show in 1994.
Now, they also sang America the Beautiful before the game. Faith Hill sang it in 2009. Miranda Lambert did it with Blake Shelton in 2012. And that's it. That's it when it comes to country stars sort of being involved with the Super Bowl.
Now, when it comes to that, Dierks Bentley was a little outspoken about it, thinking Chris Stapleton could probably pull it off.
And another cool first for him, Chris Stapleton is playing the Super Bowl, do the national anthem. For me personally, I'd be very happy watching Chris do the halftime show. He would be amazing, and I think people would really love it. I'm a big Rihanna fan, too. I'd like to sit down with Rihanna and figure out how she made $1.7 billion. That'd be an interesting conversation. But I think in 2024, we need country as the halftime show.
So who do you think could pull it off? Text us with, who you would love to see do a halftime show at the Super Bowl from the country music world.
Mm-hmm. So you can text us at 519-351-6300. What country star do you think could pull off a Super Bowl halftime show?
Garth Brooks, for sure. Chris Stapleton, yes, absolutely. Others off the top of my head, Kenny Chesney, I think, would do a great job.
Oh, yeah, and I feel like he'd bring up so many other artists with him as well.
But even if they didn't, if you're just talking about that one artist that could carry the halftime show and then have maybe some surprise guests pop in.
Yeah, exactly. Like Keith come Urban? Up for one song. Oh, Keith Urban would be fantastic. I'm trying to think, what are some of the biggest names in country music right now? I mean, if Yellowstone keeps going the way it does, I could see them doing a whole, Yellowstone themed, halftime show.
Although the music on Yellowstone tends to be a little mellow, so you'd want to keep it a little bit up-tempo, I guess. Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert, I mean, if you just featured the women of country music.
Yeah, Carrie already has, she's quite connected with the NFL, right? Because she does the Sunday night football theme songs. So, if it was on NBC, I think that would be a great sort of connection.
So who would your choice be? You can text us at 519-351-6300.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's Favorite Moments of the Week.